Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's your boy Devon Terrell, and welcome to another Help Me Devon tutorial. And today, in this Help Me Devon tutorial, I'll be showing you guys how to make your mixes sound wider and more open. I'll be taking your mix from this.
Pull up on me, we outside living, drinking, smoking, I'm in my feelings. At the top and there is no ceiling. Can you feel that? Yeah. Ride around, oh, don't kill my vibe. R.I.P. to my exes, my. Yeah.
To this.
Pull up on me, we outside living, drinking, smoking, I'm in my feelings. At the top and there is no ceiling. Can you feel that? Yeah. Ride around, oh, don't kill my vibe. R.I.P. to my exes, my. Yeah.
Now, let's bypass that back and forth as it's playing so you can feel that image go from this to this simultaneously. Check this out. Without first.
Pull up on me, we outside living, drinking, smoking, I'm in my feelings. At the top and there is no ceiling. Can you feel that? Yeah. Ride around, oh, don't kill my vibe. R.I.P. to my exes, my. Yeah. Can you feel that? I want you to listen, cause I am not kidding when I tell you that I want you with me.
The mix feels wider, it feels more open, it actually feels better. And I know what you may be saying to yourself, well, I didn't notice this immense difference. Well, that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a feeling. I'm looking to give people a sense of depth, a sense of space, a sense of clarity, a sense of separation that a lot of us are probably lacking in our mixes, and a technique that I've been using for some time. I'm going to show you how I accomplish this technique and how you can use this in your mixes, and how you can apply this to your stuff. Let's dive into this with one plugin that I'm using. Also, if you're liking this video, please comment, like, and subscribe. Now let's get it. Okay, so the plugin that I'm using is the Ozone Imager. And I like the Ozone Imager for a lot of different reasons. One in particular is the fact that it allows me to, instead of saying, hey, I'm going to widen the entire sound, I can pick specific frequency bands that I want to make wider or add width to. Why is that important? Well, if you throw an imager onto your mix and you widen it, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be widening your bass, you're going to be widening your low end stuff, you're going to be widening a lot of things that maybe you don't want to widen. What I've noticed is in the higher mid frequencies is when you open that space up a little bit, it feels a lot better. Now, granted, every song is different, but for the most part, in the upper mids and sometimes in that mid range, that's where you want to hear some of that space and separation, because that's where a lot of your frequency content is. So with that being said, I roll over to the Ozone Imager because it allows me to separate specific frequency bands that I can then make wider if I want to. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to break this down to its simplest form. I'm going to put it back to its factory default setting so you can kind of see me walk through the process. Now, there's two specific frequency bands that I tend to manipulate. The first one that I'm going to do is from the 4,000 hertz range, which is right here, to about the 10K range. So right about here. Let's take a listen to what that range even sounds like. I'm going to solo it. Listen close. So as you can hear, that range has a lot of clarity and things of that nature. Now, let me widen that range up and watch how this thing starts to open up. I'm going to exaggerate it a little bit, and then I'm going to find a nice sweet spot. Check this out. So this is the band for it right here. I'm going to increase it. Listen closely. Okay, now let's bypass that back and forth and see what it did without first. You can hear that when I have it engaged, it feels like it kind of just opens up. You can kind of feel like, oh, I see kind of where things belong. It kind of has like this really pleasing sound to it when I open it up just a little bit. Now, let's bypass that one section back and forth within our mix to see what just happened within the mix for it. So let's put it back on. And I'm just going to bypass the actual entire effect back and forth. So without first.
Pull up on me, we outside living, drinking, smoking, I'm in my feelings. At the top and there is no ceiling. Can you feel that? Yeah. Ride around, oh, don't kill my vibe. R.I.P. to my exes, my. Yeah. Can you feel that? I want you to listen, Cause I am not kidding when I tell you that I want you with me.
So you can feel that subtle difference. If you're listening on headphones, that's great. If you're listening on studio monitors, even better. If you notice that on an iPhone that you're listening to on right now, even better. You notice that it just feels like it just opened up and the image just feels better to my ears personally. Now, granted, this is to taste, but for me personally and for what the song called for, it really helped to just bring clarity, balance, and just like openness to the entire thing. Now, sometimes I'll take it a little step even further, and I'll go to even another range and open that range up. This is the range that I go to. Now, granted, sometimes you can stop right there. If that's what you're looking for, that's what you're looking for. But if you're looking for a little bit more width, you can come on down to here. I'll make a cut from the 600 hertz range to about the 4,000 hertz range now. Let's listen to that frequency band as far as what it is.
Pull up on me, we outside living, drinking, smoking, I'm in my feelings. At the top and there is no ceiling. Can you feel that? Yeah.
So that's your mid-range. Now, let's widen that and see what it sounds like. I'm gonna do it very slowly. Let's see what it does.
Pull up on me, we outside living, drinking, smoking, I'm in my feelings. At the top and there is no ceiling. Can you feel that? Yeah. Ride around, oh, don't kill my vibe. R.I.P. to my exes, my.
Now, let's bypass that back and forth and see what it sounds like without first.
Pull up on me, we outside living, drinking, smoking, I'm in my feelings. At the top and there is no ceiling. Can you feel that? Yeah. Ride around, oh, don't kill my vibe. R.I.P. to my exes, my. Yeah.
Can you feel that? So, no pun intended. So you can feel like this openness kind of happens where it feels like before it feels kind of tight and like I'm right here. Then when you add a little bit of width, it's like, I can breathe a little bit. And so you get that overall sound that out of your mix as far as just getting it to be a little bit more wide. Now, granted, I do this in the mix phase or the mastering phase. I don't do it for both, obviously, but I kind of find that balance and kind of listen to other records and find how wide they feel if I'm trying to match a certain sound. And so you get that type of effect. It's a really easy trick, really powerful, and you could do this to other ranges as well. You could do it to the very, very high end if you want as well. You don't have to do both of these bands. Make sure you're checking your phase, make sure you check it in mono, just to make sure that you're not losing so much stuff. But even for me, when I throw it in mono, I notice that even the mono feels a little bit wider, feels a little bit more open when I throw it into that. So that was my tutorial on how to get your mixes to sound a little bit more wider and open. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Please make sure you follow us at Help Me Devon on Instagram. Also, make sure you tune in to my Audio Nerds podcast every Wednesday. I'll leave a link in the description below. Also, join our Discord community with a bunch of other aspiring engineers like yourself, trading secrets and getting game. I'll leave that and a link in the description as well. Also, make sure you rate our podcast on Apple Music and Spotify as well. So I hope that was helpful. And until next time, you guys.